Today, we are going to consider the remaining examples of exercise 2.5, and from this exercise 2.5 up to question number 6 we have considered in the previous lectures. Now the remaining three examples are actually referred as the word examples. That means some statements are given, and from that statements we have to find out the final answer, and for that purpose we should know, or we have to read the conditions properly. Then only we can able to solve the word examples. That means whatever be the conditions are given in the example, it is very necessary to read all the conditions very properly and very carefully. Then only it is possible to solve or to write down the given conditions. So in this way we can solve the word examples. Now here, if we consider the particular example, it is given like this: Dinesh went from place A to place B. So here one person is there whose name is Dinesh, and he is walking. Suppose he is walking or he is moving on bicycle or motorcycle. So that condition is not given. Only we have to consider that Dinesh went from place A to place B, and from there to place C. That means he is moving. Initially he is moving from place A to place B. Then he is moving from that place B to place C. So that means we can say that he is taking turn at the place B. And now the distances are given. If A is 7.5 kilometer from B, so here the distance between A and B is given, which is 7.5 kilometer. Then B is 12.7 kilometer from C. This is the second condition. That means the distance between B and C, that is given. Then next thing is that Ayub went from place A to place D, and from there to place C. D is 9.3 kilometer from A, and C is 11.8 kilometer from D. So we have to calculate who traveled more and by how much. That means who traveled the more distance and by how much amount they traveled more. That value we have to calculate using the given conditions. Now in the solution, for that purpose, first of all, we are going to consider the first condition, which is regarding the Dinesh. So distance traveled by Dinesh when he went from place A to place B is 7.5 kilometer, because they had given that distance between A and B is 7.5 kilometer. So we have used that value from the example which is given. So distance between AB, so distance traveled by Dinesh from A to place B is 7.5 kilometer, and then from place B to place C he traveled a distance of 12.7 kilometer. So this is also we have to take from example. So this condition is also given in the example. The value is given in the example, which is 12.7. So here distance between B and C, that is the 12.7. So this value we are taking in our solution. So these two distances were traveled by Dinesh. So first is A to B, which is 7.5 kilometer, and then from B to C, which is 12.7 kilometer. Now if we consider this diagrammatically, so if we draw the diagram for that, so first distance we are going to consider A to B. Dinesh went from place A to place B. So here he is moving from place A to place B. And what is the distance traveled here? The distance traveled is 7.5 kilometer. The distance traveled is 7.5 kilometer, which is the distance traveled from A to B, which is according to example. Now from B, the Dinesh is traveling to the point or to the place C. That means from place B, he's now traveling to the place C. So suppose here that second place C is there. So he is traveling from B to C. And here the distance from B and C, the distance is given 12.7 kilometer. So here total distance traveled by Dinesh is AB plus BC. That means we have to add these two distances, 7.5 and 12.7. They should be added with each other. So we have to add those two values. Then we are getting total distance covered by Dinesh will be AB plus BC. Now just put down the values. The value of AB is 7.5 and value of BC is 12.7. Now, while adding these numbers, first you have to add the decimal part, whatever with the digits which are present in decimal part, those we have to add. So here in decimal part, 7 plus 5, so addition of these two numbers, 7 and 5, it is 12. So therefore we have taken 2 and that 1 goes to remainder. That now 1 is taken as a remainder. Now decimal part is completed. So we have to keep that decimal point in our answer. So that's why before that 2 we have kept the decimal point. Now we have to just add the integral part. So integral part we can add. Now 12 plus 7, which is 19, and this remainder 1, 19 plus 1, that will be 20. So therefore the addition of these two is 20.2 kilometer. 20.2 kilometer is the total distance traveled by Dinesh from A place. That means he is moving from A place to the C place, and during this he traveled a distance of 20.2 kilometer, which is the total distance traveled by Dinesh. Now we have to calculate the distance traveled by Ayub. So first of all, he is moving from A to D, and then he is moving from D to C. So his traveling distance is given like this, or traveling path is given like this. First of all, he is moving from A to D and then D to C. So in this way, he is moving. That means he is following the different path than the Dinesh, but still he is reaching to the same point C. That means the final destination of both Dinesh as well as Ayub is C point, but they are traveling along the different paths. So that's why their distances traveled going to be different. Now in the example, the condition is given A and D, that means D is 9.3 kilometer from A. D is 9.3 kilometer from A. That means AD is considered as 9.3 kilometer and C is 11.8 kilometer from D. So C is 11.8 kilometer from D. So therefore this distance DC is 11.8 kilometer. So in this way we have considered the distances according to the example. Now we have to consider the total distance covered by Ayub. So in the same manner as that of Dinesh, we can add these two distances, AD plus DC. The value of AD is 9.3 and value of DC is 11.8, and we have to just add it in the similar manner like we have added in the first case. First of all, add the decimal part. 8 plus 3, 11. So 1 is taken as remainder. Then that decimal point will remain as it is. Then 11 plus 9, which is integral part. So 11 plus 9, 20, and 20 plus this remainder 1, 21. So therefore 21.1 is the total distance covered by Ayub when he is moving from place A to place C in a different path. That means he is moving from another path and Dinesh is following the different path. And if we compare the values, then from the values it is clear that 21.1 is greater than 20.2. That means we have to compare the integral part. So you can easily tell that 20 is less than 21. So therefore, if we consider the conclusion by comparing these total distances of Ayub and Dinesh, then 21.1 kilometer is greater than 20.2 kilometer, and therefore Ayub covered a more distance by how much amount? We have to consider the amount by subtracting these two values. So you have to just subtract smaller value from the larger value. So therefore we are going to take like this: 21.1 minus 20.2. Then after subtracting this, we are getting 0.9. So here 11 minus 2, 9. Then 1 is carried. So that's why here it becomes 20. 20 minus 20, that will be 0. And we know that for 1000 meter, 1 kilometer is there. So for 0.9 kilometer, 900 meter is there. So here the total distance covered, or the Ayub covered a more distance by 0.9 kilometer or 900 meter than the Dinesh. So in this way, we can solve this example with the help of given conditions in the example. So this type of example is referred as a word example. Now we are going to consider the next example, which is question number 8 now. We are going to consider next question number 8, which is again the word example. That means same kind of example we are going to consider. Now here the example is given like this. Again some conditions are given. So first condition is like this: Shama bought 5 kilogram and 300 grams of apples and 3 kilogram and 250 gram mangoes. So he bought the two fruits. Shama bought the two types of fruit, apples as well as mangoes, and the weight of those apples and mangoes is given. So the apples are 5 kilogram 300 gram in weight, and those of mangoes is 3 kilogram and 250 grams. Now second person is there, Sarla. She also bought some fruits, but she bought different fruits. So she bought 4 kilogram and 800 grams of oranges and 4 kilogram 150 grams bananas. So she bought the different fruits. And now we have to calculate who bought more fruits. Who bought more fruits? That is the condition, and that we have to calculate. So who bought the more fruits? Now it is similar to that 7th number question, only their distances are given, and here they have given the fruits, quantity of fruits is given. So in the same way we have to add the values, and then we have to compare those two values, who bought the more fruits in the solution. Now first of all we are going to consider Shama. So total weight of fruits which is bought by Sham or Shama is 5 kilogram 300 grams of apples plus 3 kilogram 250 grams of mangoes. Now while adding such a type of quantities, first of all you have to consider the values. Which values? Unit should be same. You have to add those only values which have the same unit. So here 300 gram and 250 gram, they are in the same unit or same terms. You can see here GG, so they are same. Then second pair is kilogram kilogram. So you have to add first gram values and then you have to add the kilogram values. So first we are going to add the gram values. So here 300 plus 250 So just add this. So after adding 300 and 250, we are getting the addition 550. So here the second term, addition of this second term is 550. Now we have to add the kilogram values. So here 5 kilogram plus 3 kilogram, then the addition of these becomes 5 plus 3, which is 8 kilogram. So therefore total weight of fruits bought by Shama is 8 kilogram and 550 gram, which is the total weight of the fruits which was brought by the Shama. Now the next person is Sarla. Now she bought 4 kilogram and 800 grams of oranges and 4 kilogram 150 grams of bananas. So we have to add those also. So therefore total weight of fruits bought by Sarla, which can be calculated by adding those two values, 4 kilogram 800 gram and 4 kilogram 150 grams. Now again we have to add the same values only. So first of all we are going to add the gram values only, and then we are going to add the kilogram values. So first of all we are going to add these two values, 800 gram plus 150 grams. So we have to add these two values. So 800 plus 150, that addition is 950 grams. So which is the first addition. Now we have to add remaining values, that means kilogram values. So here 4 kilogram plus 4 kilogram, that means 4 plus 4, that is going to be 8 kilogram. So therefore Sarla brought total fruits 8 kilogram 950 grams. That means total weight of the fruits which was brought by the Sarla is 8 kilogram and 950 grams. Now the question is like this: who brought more fruits? The question is like this: who bought more fruits? So that means you have to compare these total values. Now we have to compare these total values. So now during the total values, first of all we are going to compare kilogram values, because kilogram is larger than gram. So first of all we are going to compare the kilogram, and if kilogram value is same, then we are moving to the gram value. So here both brought 8 kilograms fruit. So therefore 8, those two numbers are same. So therefore we cannot compare it with the help of kilogram values. So therefore we are moving to the gram values. Now in the gram values, in case of Shama, 550 gram fruits are there, and in case of Sarla, 950 grams of fruits are there. So if we compare these two values, 550 and 950, so you can easily spot the difference that 950 is greater than 550. So anyone can tell that 900 is greater than 500. So therefore the total weight of fruit which was brought by Sarla is going to be more than the uh, Shama. So therefore on comparing the quantity of fruits, 8 kilogram 550 gram is less than 8 kilogram 950 gram. So therefore Sarla brought more fruits than the Shama. And here it is not asked like this, how much amount is there, like in the previous question, how much distance he covered more than the Dinesh. So that was asked. So here this condition is not asked. So we have to just compare the values. So therefore you have to just write down who brought the more fruits. There is not necessary to write down how much fruits are more. So that is not necessary. So don't perform the subtraction here. Only we have to compare these two values. So this is the question number 8. And last question is like this: how much less is 28 kilometer than 42.6 kilometer? How much less is 28 kilometer than 42.6 kilometer. So here we have to just find out the difference between 42.6 and 28 kilometer. So just compare which value is larger, and before comparing we have to consider units. Those units are same, kilometer, kilometer. So both are in same unit, so directly we can compare. There is no need to conversion. So here easily you can spot the difference that 42.6 is going to be greater than 28. 42.6 is going to be greater than 28. So therefore we have to take the difference between larger value minus smaller value. So that means 42 minus 28, that will be the subtraction. So after subtracting this, 6 minus 0, 6, then 12 minus 8, 4, and 3 minus 2, 1. So therefore subtraction is 14.6. So therefore 14.6 kilometer is less is 28 kilometer than the 42.6 kilometer. So here they only ask that what is the difference. That means 28 kilometer is less than 42.6 kilometer, and it is less than 14.6 kilometers. So what is the value for that? 14.6 kilometer less is 28 kilometer than the 42.6 kilometer. So in this way, these are the word examples of comparison between the decimal numbers. And if they asked the difference, then you have to take the difference like this: larger minus smaller value, larger minus smaller value, then only we can take the difference. So in this way we can solve the examples.